What's going on, guys? I'm Built, and welcome back to another redstone tutorial video. In this video I'm coming at you from my redstone testing world, and I'm going to be showing you a few of these randomizers that I have created. And the thing that's really unique about these, other than their relatively small compact size, is the fact that they have many outputs. This one here is going to have 4 different outputs, and this one here you can do with either 4 outputs or 5 outputs depending on what you need. So what we have here is a 5-tier randomizer, and it's going to randomize and choose between 5 different signals that we have here. Each one of these repeater outputs are going to be another output that's going to be randomized. And with every push of the button or every throw of the lever, we're going to have one of these light up at a time. The output is completely random on these, and only one will ever light up at a time. You can use this setup with the buttons, or you can use it with a throw of the lever. With the button, it's going to momentarily turn on the setup, and you can get a slightly longer delay if you use a wooden button. Or if you want to go ahead and leave that on, and then you can go ahead and leave the lever on, and that's going to give you whatever randomized output that you have chosen, and it's going to stay on for as long as the lever's on. I'm going to speed up the footage for a second and show you the randomization process and show you how random these things are. And as you can see, they all light up at a complete random interval. This one is a vertical setup. However, if you want a horizontal setup that lays down like this, then you can do that as well. However, you really can only do 4 here. You could probably do 5 if you really tried hard enough. However, I figure if you need 5, you could just go ahead and build the vertical one. This one works the exact same way. It's just a layout is simply different. So if you go ahead and hit the button, you can see we get random outputs on all 4 of these. And the same thing is with the lever. If you go ahead and hit the lever multiple times, then we'll get a complete random cycle throughout all of these different torches. Each one of these torches are going to be an output, and you can of course put a repeater to extend the signal to wherever you really need it to go. Both of these are very simple to make, and we're going to jump into the tutorial to make these in just a moment. However, if you need a list for all the materials that you're going to need, check down inside of the description and you'll find everything that you need down there. So as you can see, the concept of these are very, very simple, and if you want to make a 2-tier randomizer, then it's just this simple. Basically what we're doing is we're taking advantage of this little, well, some people might call it a bug, however others might just call it a Bedrock game characteristic. However, if you do this on Java, the pistons are going to operate the exact same way each and every time. You're not going to get any kind of randomization on it. However, on Bedrock, these pistons are going to fight each other for the one single spot. And since a piston that's extended cannot be moved, and also having a piece of obsidian behind it, this keeps it from being moved regardless, then it's going to constantly fight over the one spot that's inside of the center. We could take advantage of this characteristic because you never know which one of these are going to beat the other piston in a contest to extend first. And if you only need a 2-tier randomizer, I don't think you need a tutorial for this. It's that simple, and that's going to be how this entire setup works. We are just multiplying it. So the first one that we're going to build is this one in front of us, and this is going to be the vertical 4/5-tier vertical randomizer. So to get started building this thing, you want to chunk align it and make sure that this thing is inside of the chunk. I do have a little bit of the output hanging out of this chunk here. However, since it's just the output, it's really not going to make much of a difference. But you want to make sure that the rest of the circuit is inside of the randomizer, because if not, if you have, say, this part inside of a different chunk, then it's going to change the timing between it, and that's going to give this piston over here an advantage, and mostly always win over this one here, since there's going to be a slight delay chunk to chunk. So you need to make sure that all of these are going to be inside of the same chunk aligned. That way nothing is having an advantage over the other side, and that way it's all working properly. If you need help aligning chunks, then you can go ahead and go on my profile. I do have a video which is showing you how to align the chunks and find the chunk borders throughout your Bedrock Edition world. That method uses the leaf method, and it's a very simple, easy, and cheap way to go ahead and find the chunk borders. That way you don't run into any problems in the future. To get started building this, you want to go into the very center of your chunk, and it doesn't have to be exactly center. This build is not a very big build, so you do have a little leeway side to side. However, you want to make sure that you're pretty centered inside of the chunk. That way you don't end up building out of the chunk by accident. and you want to find to where you want the very center of your randomizer to be at, and then you want to build up by 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you want to place a 6th block of obsidian, just like that. Once you've done that, you want to come to the left-hand side here and count out 3 blocks, 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to build this up by 1, build it up by 2, and then place an obsidian block there. Go to the right-hand side and do the same thing. So 1, 2, and then you're going to place down a temporary block here, and a piece of obsidian there, just like that. Now, one thing to note is if you are building this thing to where you don't have at least 12 solid blocks underneath it, you're going to also have to include a 4th piece of obsidian down below. So if you don't have any supporting ground underneath it, go ahead and remove this center block directly underneath the center piece of obsidian, and go ahead and place a piece of obsidian there. If you are building this on the ground and you have at least 12 blocks where there's no cave or anything underneath you, then you can skip this step and you don't have to worry about it. And once you have done that, you're going to go to this piece of obsidian block that you just placed down, and place down a sticky piston facing up, face all the way up, place down a sticky piston facing down on that block, turn left and place a sticky piston facing you, and then turn right and place another sticky piston facing you. So you should have all these sticky pistons facing directly towards the center here. Next, you can go ahead and grab your blocks of redstone and place one here, 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 and here. So it should look just like that. The next thing that you want to do is go ahead and grab you a temporary block, and on this bottom redstone block, you're going to place a temporary block there, a permanent block on the bottom, a permanent block to the left of that temporary block, and a permanent block to the right of that temporary block. Remove that temporary block, and then you're going to jump up here, grab your redstone repeaters, and face them away from these redstone blocks, just like so. Then once you're done that, you can go ahead and grab this obsidian, crouch, and place a piece of obsidian on top of that middle repeater. Go ahead and grab your repeater again, and place a repeater facing out on top of that obsidian, and you should have all 4 of them facing out just like that. If you are making a 4-tier randomizer like this one, you can go ahead and replace this piece of obsidian with a regular solid block. There's no need for this to be here. However, if you're making a 5-tier randomizer, then you're going to definitely need this piece of obsidian to keep this from breaking and to make it spam-proof and much, much more durable. So depending on what you're building, you should decide whether or not you need this or not. Again, the 4-tier does not need it. You can put a stone block in this place. The 5-tier is going to need it there. Once you have done that, you can go ahead and grab your solid blocks again. These solid blocks do have to be something that redstone could pass through. And then you're going to crouch and place a solid block on the face of each one of these repeaters. One here, one here, one here, and one here. Then you can take your redstone torches and place a torch here, 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 and one here as well. So it should look just like that. All of your torches should go out. At this point, we can come around to the other side here. Once you're at the back, you can go ahead and grab your solid blocks again, and we're going to place a solid block here to the left and a solid block here to the right. Then you want to bring this around the back side and connect it, just like so. Grab your redstone dust, and you're going to bring this redstone dust from this left piston up around here, back to the front here, and down to this right-hand piston. It should connect both of these pistons and go all the way around, just like that. Next, you want to come to the bottom here and place down a piece of redstone dust here. Place down a solid block with a piece of redstone dust on top of it. Then come to the right-hand side if you're looking at the back of the randomizer, and crouch place a solid block on the very side of the hitbox of that redstone dust. Then you can place another piece of redstone dust on top of it. And if you are planning on making this a 4-tier randomizer only, go ahead and place a piece of glass here. Then you can bring redstone dust on top of this and connect it. At this point, the 4-tier randomizer is done. You just have to set up your outputs up front here. So to set up your outputs, you're going to place down a block here, bring this up by 2, remove that temporary block on the bottom, bring this up by 2 again, remove that temporary block on the bottom, bring this up by 2, and remove that temporary block on the bottom. Then you're going to go around to the back side of this and place in your repeaters going away from the randomizer, just like that. And these should be directly in line with all of your torches. The only thing that you need to do is power your randomizer now, and you can power this from anywhere on this redstone dust that you would like, as long as you have a repeater going into it first. So if you would like, you can go ahead and place a piece of redstone dust here for demonstration purposes. Let's bring this out a little bit, and I'm going to place a repeater here. This repeater is to boost the signal back up to a strength of 15 for redstone, and that way the signal makes it all the way around this entire contraption. Then you can grab your redstone dust again, bring this all the way over here, and we can just go ahead and throw a lever here for now. So turning on the lever, you can see that we're going to get a completely random signal. So as far as the 4-tier randomizer goes, you have 4 different outputs here, and this thing is absolutely done. So if you only need 4 different outputs, you are golden, you're good to go. You can use this in all 4 of your outputs, or right here, you can send these outputs to wherever you would like. So you just got done building this 4-tier randomizer, and it is amazing. It does everything that you would like, except one problem. You need 1 extra output. Well, this 4-tier randomizer is just not going to do it if you need 5 outputs. So to add the 5th output, what we need to do at this point is come around to the backhand side and come to this glass block here. On this glass block, what you're going to do is grab your last piece of obsidian here and place that obsidian right on the back side of that piece of glass. Then you're going to come to the front side here, remove that piece of glass, and place a sticky piston facing forward in its spot, just like so. Then you're going to take your last piece of redstone block and place your redstone block right there. Now, in order for us to pick up the signal, it can be a little bit tricky. However, I'll walk you right through it. So what we need to do at this point is we're going to place a temporary block here and then 2 solid blocks here. Remove that temporary block, and then we're going to take 2 repeaters, and we're going to put a repeater here and a repeater here facing towards the left if you're looking at it from the back. Next thing you want to do is grab your redstone dust and place a piece of redstone dust right here, and that's going to connect in this final piston, and this redstone dust will connect to the bottom since this piston is technically a transparent block on Bedrock Edition. Once you have done that, you want to come to the left hand side to where these repeaters end, and you're going to place down a solid block here and a torch sticking out the back of it. And as soon as you place it down, then it should turn off with these repeaters powering this block. Go directly underneath that redstone torch and place down another solid block, and then you can place your redstone dust on it and bring your redstone dust all the way to the front here until it lines up with the rest of your outputs. Remove this one that lines up with the rest of them and replace it with a repeater facing out, and that's going to give you the 5 different repeaters that are going to be your 5 different outputs. So in order to test this thing out, we can go ahead and turn on that lever, and there's 1 output. There's our 5th one. There's another one. There's a repeat. Another repeat. Another repeat. Another repeat. There's another new one. And there's the bottom one. So you have all 5 random outputs, and it's totally random. Alright guys, that is your vertical 5-tier and 4-tier randomizer. So take this thing off the burner, it is done. Let's go ahead and move on to the next 4-tier randomizer, which is going to be the horizontal setup. So just like the other one, what you want to do is go ahead and find the center of your chunk that you marked out. It doesn't have to be the exact center. Again, this one is not that big, it doesn't take up that much space. So just kind of get it real close to where you think the center is. That way you don't run into any timing problems like I mentioned before. What you want to do is you want to take your redstone dust now and spin around you and place redstone dust here, 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 and here. Which is going to be north, south, east, and west, all of your cardinal directions. After you have done that, you're going to place a redstone block on all 4 of those. And then you're going to take a temporary block and build this temporary block out on all 4 of these. Then you're going to take a piece of obsidian and build these out all the way around on all 4 of these. Nice and simple so far. Remove these temporary blocks all the way around. And grab your 4 sticky pistons. 1 here. 1 here. 1 here. And 1 here. If you look at it from an aerial view, you should have this. Go ahead at this point and grab your solid blocks. And you're going to go ahead and place a solid block on all 4 of these blocks of redstone, including the one in the center. So you should have a cross just like that. Then you can go ahead and connect all That's really weird. I never had that happen before. If you look, my redstone is selected inside of my hotbar, however, it's putting down a block. That is just strange. Welcome to Bedrock. Okay, now that I have the redstone dust, let's give this another go. So you're going to place down a piece of redstone dust on all 4 of these pistons, and then you're going to bring this all the way in across the center, just like that. Next, we're going to configure these outputs to where they come out. So you can bring this center one straight out here, and we'll just go ahead and place a solid block here, here, then we'll place one here as well. And this last one, you can make it come out on the left side or the right side. It really is up to you. I'm going to go ahead and do the right side, which is going to be a little bit different from the one that I did over there. And now all you have to do is run your redstone dust to it. Since these redstone blocks put out 15 signal, you don't have to worry about adding any kind of repeaters inside of here. It's going to give you the full output, and as soon as you put a torch on the other side, then it's going to boost it back up to 15. The only thing left to do is to go ahead and power the randomizer, and you're going to power this anywhere that you would like on this top piece of redstone dust. Again, just like the other one, you do want to remember that this does need a full 15 power. That way you can ensure that all of your signal makes it all the way to all 4 of the pistons. What you want to do at that point is go ahead and just add one wherever it goes into the circuit, and then connect it into the circuit as well. And then you can run this switch anywhere that you would like. And again, if you'd like, you can use a lever or a button. It's entirely up to you. A wooden button is going to give you a slightly longer pulse, and a stone button is going to give you a slightly shorter pulse. And if you need it off and on, then you can just go ahead and use a lever, just like this. And as you can see, this randomizer is very easy to build and very functional. This one is only going to be a 4 output randomizer. So if you need a 5th extra output, then I do highly recommend using that one. These randomizers can be used in so many different things, from games that you build inside of your Minecraft world to things like this, which is going to be a wall that is going to decide what you do next, kind of like Impulse SV's wall. I believe he called it the Phineas wall, inside of Hermitcraft Season 7, and basically randomized it. Now, his just used a dropper setup, kind of similar to this smaller dropper setup here, to where he was able to get a randomized output. And I'm going to have a tutorial on this one here. This one's very, very simple and easy to build, and it's a whole lot less complex than that. This one is a step up from that, and this one is a larger one, depending on what you want. I'm going to have tutorials on all 3 of these, so keep an eye out if you're interested in seeing these. Basically with these, you will turn it on and it will randomly select one of the 3 rows, and then that's going to constantly go back and forth on the row that is selected. And then once you want to pick something, then you can go ahead and jump on the pressure plates, facing away of course so you don't see, and it will pick the random one that decides what you build next. If you want this entire setup to be totally random, where you don't even see what row it is, then you just turn it off, wait for it all to reset, and then you can go ahead, turn around, face away, turn on this lever. It's going to pick one of the random 3 rows, and then you can jump on these pressure plates, and it's going to pick one from the 3 rows that it had. So as you can see, it picked this one here, and whatever that one would be, a block of redstone. We're building a block of redstone farm next. Sounds good. So this one over here is basically a smaller design of it. You basically just turn that on and it's going to go back and forth. And you can see you can use either the signs or you can use the picture frames. However, the signs are a little bit more lag friendly. And same concept, you just turn it on, face away, and step on the pressure plates. Well, we're building a copper farm next. So kind of a nice little touch. And it works very, very nicely. This one here. Same concept, except it's going to use paper. So you go ahead and turn that on, and then you can see it's going to be flowing all of your non-stackable items in. Whenever you name a bunch of different papers, they are going to become non-stackable items as long as they're all named differently. So then you can go ahead and hit this button, and you can see that it's totally cycling all these very, very quickly and very, very randomly. So hit that button, and sometimes you have to hit it more than once, and it's going to cycle out a totally random item. Just like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing these tutorials, again, keep an eye out. I'm going to be doing a tutorial for all 3 of these. They are going to be separate because they are kind of bigger builds. However, the reason why I brought this up is because this randomizer is just a very, very simple demonstration as to what we can use these randomizers for. Again, if you go ahead and turn that one off, I'll go ahead and move the lever over here. And you can see this randomizer works the exact same way. This is the randomizer that decides what row up there starts to work. So very, very, very simple. However, it is a necessity for a contraption like this because, well, you need a randomizer or else there's no randomization, and then you have a pattern, and then you kind of know what's going to happen next. So it's nice for it all to be random. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you are interested in seeing any of these future videos, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Uh-oh, I broke it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that way you don't miss a single thing. I have tons and tons of new stuff coming, and the frequencies of my videos will be increasing substantially because I just bought a brand new PC. I'm not going to be using my dinosaur anymore, and the computer that I bought is a pretty high-end computer, so I should not run into any problems. If you guys want personal updates on that and you want to follow along with all the pictures that I post whenever I install it, then go ahead and find me on Twitter, or I'm also on Facebook and a bunch of other social media. You can find links to that all down below. I do now also have a Patreon, so if you want to support me directly and support the channel, go ahead and check out my Patreon. You get a ton of different perks for signing up to the Patreon, including my Patreon only Discord server where you can chat with me, get videos a day early, and also give me input with what you think that should be shown next. You also get a ton of sneak peeks, as well as a bunch of other awesome perks. So if you have yet to check out the Patreon, go ahead and check it out. As always, the link for that is down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!